So hello, today we will talk about what is HTTP. HTTP is a hypertext transfer protocol. It is a communication protocol used by a web browser and web server to exchange information. Here the client is equal to the browser or an app, and server is equal to the website or an web application. For example, when you open an www.com, your browser talk to Google server using HTTP. Now, what is an HTTP request? An HTTP request is a message sent by the client to the server asking for some data or action. Now, components of HTTP request are request line, headers, and body. Here, the request line is method plus URL plus HTTP version. For example, get slash index.html http slash 1.1. Here, the get means the requesting data, and the post is for sending data. Now, headers extra information about the request, and for example user agent, client type, and authentication. And here the body is optional. In this, the data sent to the server used in the post and the put. Now, what is an HTTP response? An HTTP response is a message sent by a web server back to a client like a browser or an app after it receives an HTML request. It tells the client whether the request was successful or not, provides the request data or an error message. Now, some of the components of HTTP response. Now, HTTP are status line, headers, and body. Here, the status line shows HTTP version, status code, and reason. For example, HTTP slash 1.1 200. Okay, here the 200 means the success and the request completed, and 404 means page not found. Here headers means the extra information about the resource. For example, content type like text or HTML, or the content length like 1024. And the body component means the actual content required HTML or image, etc. Now, what are the common HTTP status? Code is response. First one is code 200, means the request is successful. 201 code means created, new response created. 301 means moved permanently or URL changed. 400 means bad request, client error. Or 401 means unauthorized or login required. 403 means access denied. 404 means not found, page is missing. And 5000 means internal server error, means server problem. Now we'll talk about how HTTP request and response work. Here the client sends a request, and then the server processes the request and preference a response. Here then the server send a response. The status code plus requested data, and then server display the data. The browser reads the page or an app shown data. How HTTP request response works. Here, with firstly client sends the request, Then the server processes the request. Server sends the response, uh, like status code plus requested data. Then client display the data, like the page or the app shown in the data. For example, you requested, then the server fetch the page and then browser display it. Now what are the common HTTP method? So there are 7 methods: get, post, put, delete, patch, head, and options. Now get is used to fetch the data from the server, and post is used to send to the server, create create response. And put method is used to update existing response. Delete method is used to remove the response. Patch method is used to partial update of resource, and head method is used to get only headers, no body. And option method is used to check supported method on the server. Now if we conclude it or summarize it, HTTP request is equals to the client asking server or something, or HTTP response is server replying with the data or the status. If we make it together, the HTTP request plus response is equal to the web communication cycle. Thank you.